and welcome to Kanawha County Schools High School News, where this week we're featuring DuPont High School and our focus is journalism. In our first segment, we'll be talking to recently inducted members of the revitalized Quill and Scroll Honor Society at DuPont. We have with us Jamie Persinger, Jerry Williams, Jessica Robertson, and Jody Taylor. In the opening, we mentioned that the Quill and Scroll Society is revitalized at DuPont. Why has it been absent for so long?
In the past, there was not an emphasis on journalism, and now more people are going into the study of journalism, so we revitalized it, and the Quill and Scroll should continue for the next few years.
So all of you are members of Quill and Scroll. How did you become a member?
We became members when our teacher sent our name into the Honor Society, and we had to be in the upper third of our class in general scholastic standing and have superior work in journalism or a school publication, and we were all accepted.
Well, why do you think we have the National Honor Society? Why do you think that there is a separate honor society for young journalists?
I think because we have special skills for writing, and we make good grades other than the other honor society, so we've got the skill of journalism classes and all.
At the initiation ceremony, you each went through a ritual of lighting candles. Can you tell us what those candles represented to you?
Okay, the candles represent truth, learning, leadership, loyalty, initiative, integrity, judgment, and friendship.
And are these qualities present in the world today?
Some of the qualities are present and some of them are not. Truth is, learning, leadership and loyalty is, but with some people the initiative is not there, integrity is not there, and most people do not have good judgment or cannot have good friendship with one or the other people. Okay.
Do you feel that truth is the basis for good journalism?
Yes, I feel that yes, truth is the basis of good journalism, because without truth in a publication, there would be no need to even have the publication, because the publication full of lies is worth nothing to no one.
And can you tell me what the candle that each of you lit, and maybe what that meant to you?
Okay, the candle that I lit was a candle of judgment. And I feel that I must possess good judgment if I am going to serve my people and my community properly. Because without good judgment, learning and personal integrity would be worth little value.
I understand that the name of your chapter is the Apollo chapter. Can you tell me how you decided on that name?
We voted upon it. We chose names, and then we picked our favorite chapter.
So why Apollo?
Because Apollo's strong-willed, and I guess we felt we were strong-willed and ready to achieve something.
Did the fact that he was the god of sun and of youth have anything to do with it?
Yes. Yes.
So what are the plans for next year's Quill and Scroll? I understand that I think two of you are officers.
I'm the historian, so I'll write the history of the Quill and Scroll. Next year we plan to do more community work and to better up on our journalism skills and to continue the Quill and Scroll and encourage people to join it and get into journalism more. So.
With us now are three members of another revitalized program at DuPont High, the high school newspaper, the Panther Press. We have Jamie Persinger, Tanya Townsend, and Stephen Richard. This is the first year in a number of years that DuPont High has had a newspaper. How did you go about getting started?
Well, at the beginning of the year, there's 15 students in a class that nobody knew anything about.
Then we all just sat down in a circle and discussed what we wanted to do. We decided on the different topics, how we wanted the paper to look, and the title, if we wanted the Panther Press or if we wanted some different title.
So did you make any goals for your paper?
One of our goals was it was to be for the students, by the students.
And did you achieve all of those goals?
I feel like we have.
The November issue is the issue I'm most interested in, and it deals with the topic of sex. And I'm interested in how that topic was looked upon by many of the parents, the staff, the students at the school.
A lot of the students felt that it needed to be said because sexually, as far as I can tell from some of the stuff we got, a lot of the students at DuPont High are sexually active. And the parents, they thought it was good, and the principal, he thought that we needed to know a lot about it.
But maybe I'm an advisor and, or maybe a student, and I consider a topic like that inappropriate in a newspaper. Do you think there's people that are like that, and do you know why they would feel that way?
I think that that a topic like that is not inappropriate because it's a high school, and I think that kids in a high school really do need to know about what is going on in their high school related to sex.
Were there some other highlights from the school year? I understand, Stephen, you did an article on televisions that were stolen from the school.
We had, during the school year, we had 7 televisions stolen out of the annex part of our school. And the way that they broke in, they cut around the locks of the windows and opened the windows and took the TVs out of 7 different classrooms.
Do you find it difficult to interview people? Do they want to talk, or are some people shy?
They just take it as a big joke.
Which do you cover more, news stories or feature stories?
It depends upon sometimes the topics. A lot of times there'll be news stories, sometimes there'll be features. It just depends upon some of the stuff that does happen at the school.
Well, we've talked about your issue devoted to sex. We've talked about how you cover news stories and feature stories. So what exactly is the role of a high school newspaper?
I think that the role of a high school newspaper is to inform the teachers and the students about what is going on in their school and also outside in their community also.
Has this experience helped you at all? Are any of you going to go into journalism now?
I plan to go to college and major in journalism.
Anybody else? What are some goals? I understand, Jamie, you're going to be editor next year. Do you have any goals for next year?
Just to bring out more newspapers that's for the students, by the students, and just try to compete with last year's newspapers.
I understand, you started from scratch this year, and you have your newspapers professionally done. They're published papers. How did you go about paying for them?
Well, we have advertising. And we've had fundraisers, like we sold Pops when it was real hot.
What have been some other fundraisers?
We sold carnations during one of the times. Then we sold lines for Christmas, and then love lines for Valentine's Day.
Did you know when you came back to school, the beginning of this year, that you were going to have a paper? As it was, I understand that Jamie had told me earlier that when students saw the paper, the first thing they said was, well, you can get ink on your hands. Did you know you were going to have that type of paper?
I don't think anybody did really. They just thought that it'd be like a newsletter run off on just typing paper or something. Everybody was really surprised.
Now, I'm going to assume that you had a fundraiser before you came out with your first issue, right?
Yes.
So people had already heard about the Panther Press. What were student reactions when they just heard about a newspaper?
Like Jamie said, a lot of them thought it was just going to be like be a ran-off copy of different things. They didn't think it was going to be in the format it was. They didn't think it was going to have news stories or it was going to be on real newspaper. and they didn't think the ink would actually come off in your hands.
Just as you devoted one issue to the topic of sex, do you see yourself devoting an issue to another cause next year?
That's mostly what we'll be focusing on, is devoting issues to a certain cause to help students out in the school.
Can you tell us what some of those causes might be?
We could possibly dedicate one issue to environmental causes.
Thank you for being with us. With us now are 4 members of the DuPontian staff of DuPont High School. They represent the yearbook. We have Jamie Persinger, Jessica Robertson, Jody Taylor, and Ricky Buckner. Jamie, we'll begin with you. We understand that you're going to be the senior editor next year, and we're curious about how you feel about the honor, but also the responsibility that comes with your job.
When I found out about this honor, I was overwhelmed and excited. It's a major responsibility that involves the designing of the opening and closing of the book and the division pages, and also help develop our theme throughout the entire yearbook.
Will you and your staff spend any time this summer working on the book?
This summer, the staff will be selling ads for the 1991-92 DuPontian. We will also be taking pictures to get a head start on the upcoming responsibilities.
Jody, you're a business manager, right? How will you be working with the other staff members?
As business manager, I will assign sales beats to each staff member. I'll demonstrate and role-play the proper methods of selling ads. I'll set up an advertising rate schedule, incorporate senior and friendship ads, and give incentives to staff members, such as 300 Club that we have set up, where if a student sells $300 worth of ads, they will get a reduced price on their yearbook for that next year.
Will you have any other responsibilities?
Yes, I will design the advertising layouts and keep records of business transactions between the DuPontian staff and the advertisers.
Ricky, let's ask you how the staff positions are divided.
The staff positions are divided as editor-in-chief, business manager, computer specialist, administration, faculty and staff editor, community editor, copywriter, underclassmen editor, academics editor, organization editor, sports editor, student life editor, and photographer.
What is the criteria for a good yearbook?
The criteria for a good yearbook is to show the past history of the recent school year. Also, the theme is throughout the academic section and the mug shots, athletics, the clubs and organizations, the opening and closing, and even the cover. Sections are laid out in columns, and we have also an index so the students can get to find their pictures so much easier. And we use infographics, which is a computer thing where we can have like students like fill out surveys and things.
What are some of the leadership and vocational skills that you develop by working on a yearbook?
You definitely learn how to work with a team, and you get to voice your opinion about the yearbook as a whole. If you want to go into the profession of journalism, you'll learn a great deal about computers and develop your writing skills and work with people one-on-one.
In talking to the newspaper and now we hear the word layout a lot. How do you complete a layout?
You start the layout on a dummy, which is just the dummy is what you don't send it into the company. And you pick column sizes, and those are blocks that you have to work within. You start with a dominant photo, you place it on the double-page spread, and then you pick 5 to 7 other photos to balance out the dominant. You put your captions adjacent to the photos that they represent, and then you add body copy to it. And once that's finished, you can spice it up with graphics and artwork, and then draw it on triplicate, and it's ready to go to the company.
What is the theme for this year's book?
Unlimited in person, in spirit, and style.
Now, do you have a spring and fall delivery?
Our yearbooks don't come in until next fall.
Oh, okay.
It takes a year for them to get completed, the company.
Well, we want to thank you for being with us. We want to thank all of our guests for being with us. Their renewed interest and enthusiasm in their school reminds us at High School News of a quote by Brooks Anderson, the drama critic for the New York Times, when he said, "All the books I'd read previously had to do with faraway places. I never realized that anything so interesting could exist where I actually was." This has been DuPont High School. Join us again for High School News.